I'm Andrew Gaule, and I'm a founder of Aimava and a director of CirculOil. So Aimava is a strategy consultancy. It's been involved for over 20 years working with large corporates in their corporate venturing and doing investments. And CirculOil is a circular economy solution for lubricants. So really giving quick, green and smart oil changes. I've had the opportunity to author a couple of books over 20 years. The first one was Open Innovation in Action, which explains how corporates can be more strategic in doing their innovation and corporate venturing. And then about 5 years ago, I wrote a book called Purpose to Performance and Innovative New Value Chain. So it describes how organizations need to connect now different technologies which are going to have an impact for their business and also, in this case, for the environment, to bring us to net zero. For us to be able to address the climate change at scale, we need to get these large corporates to change their direction, to do things with new technology in new business models like circular economy. And they're going to do that by learning from startups and from investing in startups and bringing those things and that into their business. So I've seen it with the likes of electric vehicles, the likes of new materials, the likes of carbon capture, where engaging with startups can bring those technologies and those business models in, and then the corporates can transition faster. For corporates to make that change, they can't just turn around and say they've got an innovative idea. They've got to be more strategic about it. So I outlined in my book what I call the 5 Ps. So what's the purpose of what you're trying to do? So if you're trying to address climate change and make business benefits, then that's your key thing, as opposed to just improving operational efficiency in your current business. The second thing is getting the right process. So do you want to engage with startups, invest in startups, and do that effectively like a fund? The third P is people. So have you got the right people to take those things forward? Are you engaging with them appropriately? The fourth one is partners. So partnering with startups, partnering with funds, partnering with other corporates that are addressing the same issue. And the fifth P is performance. So have you got the right performance measures? So very important in this climate aspect of having the right climate targets in terms of carbon, but also understanding how long it's going to take for these ventures to become profitable. So those are the 5 Ps that corporates need to think about when they're doing their corporate venturing. To work with startups, you've really got to be clear about what's your strategic objective. And then I believe you also think about what this new value chain and that is going to be. So if you're going to move from a business model that's just producing lots of products, plastics, fuels, or sort of stuff like that, and it's only going to go one way and then it's going to go to waste, you're going to change that value chain to being a circular solution. So you need to be able to understand what are the new materials. You need to understand the new production. You've got to have new logistics. You've got to have new technology, new tracking. You might have a new business model if you rent your product rather than selling it. Now, each of those bits are going to require different technologies, different startups. So I think it's really important for you to think about what your new model is. And then when you're out there engaging with the startups, you then learn and you can change your model and you can change your the startups you engage with. So, being involved with a startup and investing in that startup is good for that startup, but that might not be the one that actually succeeds in this sort of sector. So you can then change your model, but it's important for us to be able to scale these things that the corporate bets on the right thing and then changes its model. We're seeing now there's lots of challenges, but still lots of opportunities in this sustainability space. So at Innovation Zero, we're going to be seeing on the panel, Williams Advanced Engineering. They've got great examples of engaging with startups and then deploying those technologies into the likes of retailers like Sainsbury's for lowering their energy impact. We'll be seeing examples from Creative Destruction Lab at Oxford with Sarah Barrett-Ball, who's bringing together lots of corporates, lots of startups, and lots of investors to be able to support that ecosystem of the startups and the finance and that to bring these things forward. And then we're going to see with Irina from ArcelorMittal, the big steel company, how they're having to make significant changes on a big energy using industry, and how they're aiming to get to net zero by 2050. So we're going to see these things coming together from the technology startup through the collaborations through to trying to do these things at scale. Each year, billions of litres of oil is wasted because it goes into engines, which is used importantly for lubricant. But when you take that oil out, it's a very wasteful sort of solution. You undo a nut in the sump, the oil pours out, it then gets mixed up with lots of other liquids and then becomes very difficult to process and ends up just being burnt, or even worse, going into the watercourse and polluting. What CirculOil has got is a sealed cartridge, patented sealed cartridge, which is very quick to change the oil in the vehicle, so 90 seconds, as opposed to having the vehicle taken away to go to a garage. The sealed cartridge can be then recycled very effectively to a very high sort of standard with lower energy cost, and also it's smart. So you're tracking now a sealed cartridge as opposed to this liquid being mixed up with all sorts of other barrels of waste. So it's quick, it's green, it's smart, and it's going to be addressing legislation which is rightly coming in that companies are going to be responsible for their waste and their management. So it's really important the legislation change to support these sort of sustainability drives, because then it gives an even playing field for lots of organizations. So in the example of waste oil, there are directives now coming from the EU, in the United States and in other countries, where waste oil needs to be taken back, re-refined, and then put back into the product. And the levels of those now are getting up to 30% that the legislation's coming in are going to have to be done. And I really look at it as like the example of plastic bottles back 10 years ago, when it was only virgin plastic was put into bottles. Now companies are saying, yeah, they want 100%, and that's what customers sort of want. And the whole industry has had to change to this circular economy solution. So we've now got better waste collection, we've got better processing, and there's more customer wanting to have those and that within their product. So we're seeing that in lots of other sort of sectors. So legislation is really important for driving business and helping consumers have a better choice. At Innovation Zero, I think we're going to see a fantastic speakers. We are going to have engaging panels where we're going to hear from people who are doing some really great things, and also the quality of the networking, the other participants and the audience is going to be there. I think it's going to be a great opportunity to share ideas and to make good use of your time.